Get my glasses on here. Senate Bill 77, ban Kratom and Kratom products and provide a penalty therefor. Do we have any proponent testimony? And if you want to wait just a second for the room to clear a little. And we do have quite a few online and in the room to testify on this one, so we will have to limit it to about 10 minutes per side to get out of here. So thank you. Go ahead, Senator, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Carley, Senator for District 29. Thank you. Today we're going to be talking about SB77 to ban Kratom and Kratom products and to provide a penalty therefor. You may sometimes heard the term Kratom versus Kratom, but you may hear them interchangeably. All right, first of all, let's start. What is Kratom? Does everyone know what Kratom is? Here's the Drug Enforcement Administration listing the fact sheet on Kratom. Is that appearing on your screens okay? Okay, let's try that again. You got it? Okay. All good now? Okay, excellent. So here's the Drug Enforcement Administration fact sheet. What is Kratom? It's a tropical tree in Southwest Asia. Consumption of its leaves produces stimulant in low doses and sedative effects in high doses. Can lead to psychotic symptoms and psychological dependence. There's two major ingredients inside of it. How is it abused? Most abused by oral ingestion in the form of a tablet, capsule, or extract. DEA sheet continues. What are the effects? Creates a stimulant effect with users reporting increased alertness, physical energy, and talkativeness. High doses, the user experience sedative effects. It can lead towards addiction, they indicate. Several cases of psychosis are resulted from Kratom. They've been reported. Just skipping down, some effects on the body include nausea, itching, sweaty, dry mouth, constipation, tachycardia, vomiting, drowsiness, loss of appetite. So those are some of the things. There's more indicated there on the Drug Enforcement Administration sheet. What's the legal status? The FDA has not approved Kratom for any medical use. In addition, the DEA has listed Kratom as a drug and chemical of concern. So this is one that's growing. It's a new product, fairly new product. Relatively, and so we need to address Kratom. All right, taking a look at WebMD, it does have health benefits, as they indicate there. So some of the health benefits that are reported for Kratom, I've talked to many people who have taken Kratom. They report it can relieve pain, depression, and even opioid addiction. Traditionally, it's been often used to treat fatigue, pain, diarrhea, muscle cramps. Those are some other things. As WebMD reports, though, it can make you feel high, and orange indicated on the screen. It can make you feel high or euphoric, similar to the effects of opioids or THC in marijuana when taken in high doses. It's a little bit about Kratom. What's the history in South Dakota with Kratom? Well, Kratom is currently legal in South Dakota. 2020, there were no restrictions on it. 2021, it was introduced to an age restriction of 21. Later in 2025, a bill targeted its potency, its concentrations, and its labeling. What's the concern today? There are some ongoing concerns. There's other states that are dealing with this now, and there's new information that's come to light. Here's an example of South Dakota of a young man, unfortunately, whose life was cut short due to Kratom. He was in Minnehaha County. The coroner ruled it as death from Kratom. Fortunately, he took too much, and sadly, his life was ended. This is what Kratom looks like in a shop. This you can see on the shelves. There's some bottles that look like dietary supplement bottles with capsules in them. You can see colorful options on the wall. You can see bags to use it for mixing into food or other products as well. So that's what it looks like on the stores. There's been a lot of news about Kratom. Crackdowns on Kratom and 7-OH, one of the compounds in Kratom. You can see overdose deaths in Idaho recently reported. That was just about 2 weeks ago. And then literally just reported yesterday was this chess grandmaster, David Narosky. They reported he died from Kratom in his system as well. One of the smartest minds in the world is a chess grandmaster. So this is a growing issue. There are unfortunately a lot of sad situations happening right now. All right, so we've heard testimonies of what Kratom can do for me. I've heard things like it cured my dental pain. It was a replacement for painkillers. It calmed my anxiety, gave me energy. It helped me get off opioids, gave me a positive mood. So those comments also come from sometimes taking prescription drugs. Those can create the same comments. Those can come from taking dietary supplements. I've heard similar comments. Of course, from Kratom, those are some of them. Drinking coffee can create some of those responses as well. Using marijuana has created some of those testimonies. Using cocaine has created some of those testimonies. Exercising can cause some of those good testimonies. And finally, eating healthy. So there's a number of things that can create good testimonies in that. So keep that in mind. All right, let's take a quick look. This is on Amazon. Just a search on Amazon. You search for the word Kratom. What comes up? Well, first thing that comes up is 5 or 6 drug tests for employers to use to make sure their employees aren't on Kratom. Obviously, employers care if their employees are on Kratom or not because they want them operating at full capacity. Additionally, you can see other books that come up, My Kratom Hell, Kicking Kratom, since it's addictive, and Kratom Glass Half Empty. So you can see what the first page results are when you look for this. Let's do a search on Google. How Kratom helped me. What's the first results that come up? Non-logged in, just a open search. Well, the first thing that comes up is help is available, a suicide line hotline, a crisis lifeline. First website there is National Helpline for Mental Health, Drug, and Alcohol Issues. And finally, Kratom unsafe and ineffective is what our first results are. All right, here's the big question. Aren't all plants okay? It's natural. We hear that, right? So I'm a big proponent of natural products. I like them quite a bit, but let's look at some of those natural products. We often hear people say, well, even sugar can make me high, or sugar can cause problems. Okay, so let's look at the sugar cane. Can that create high energy? Yes, it can. Can that create euphoria? Sure, it can. Is it addictive? Yeah, actually, it can be addictive. All right, let's look at cocaine. Cocaine can create high energy, create euphoria. That can intoxicate your mind. That'll impair your driving. There are overdoses, and there's extreme addictive and withdrawals with it. And finally, it stays in your system quite a long period of time. All right, let's look at Kratom. Very similar. High energy euphoria, as I mentioned earlier, can create calmness as well as what's reported. But you'd see some of the similar problems. Staying in your system for a long time, addictive, withdrawals, overdoses, impairment of your mind and driving. Let's take a look at lavender. That's a plant. Okay, that actually can give you high energy as well, and it can be used to create calmness as well. It's a plant that's used regularly for that. How about coffee? Hopefully we all got it this morning. It gave us some high energy for these great meetings. It can make us happy, but yeah, it can have some withdrawal symptoms if you drink too much of it and aren't getting it today. Finally, I grow rare fruit, so we'll take an interesting one. Most of us think we see a piece of fruit hanging on a tree, we can eat it. Well, the manchil fruit, did you know you can pick that? That'll give you high energy and it'll make you happy, but you will have death if you eat that fruit. So we need to be cognizant of some plants are better than others. All right, the most common one with plants, or at least the fungi family similar. Our mothers all told us, be careful about the mushrooms you eat, right? Don't pick everyone in the garden. So the one on the left, that would be a satisfying stir fry if you had that in your to eat. Second one in the middle, that mushroom, you'd be on a psychedelic mind trip if you ate that one. Finally, the mushroom on the right, you eat that, you're dead in 30 minutes. So again, there's an important distinction between all plants are great. We got to make sure we look at the aspects of those and the properties of them. There's an ancient wisdom that once said, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. All right, let's look at 2 bottles of products here. On the right side, you can see a Kratom bottle with capsules in it. On the left side is Boswellia. Boswellia is also a plant product. Let's just compare them because they both have some similar traits. So Kratom versus Boswellia, both produce pain relief. They're both a plant. They both contain alkaloids. And the FDA says on actually both of them have no medical benefit. However, many people use Boswellia for these dietary reasons. Let's look at how they're different. Well, Kratom is addictive instead of non-addictive like Boswellia. It's not approved as a dietary supplement where Boswellia is. It's considered adulterated under the FD&C Act. Kratom. Kratom is under the Drug Enforcement Administration. They say it's a drug and chemical of concern where it's not listed for Boswellia. And finally, sadly, 6 Department of Health deaths were reported in South Dakota due to Kratom, where there's been no people reported of dying from Boswellia. All right, just a quick comparison of the two and use for rheumatoid arthritis to bring pain down. You can see in both cases, people do report effects helping with that. But I'll just point out in the blue circle of Boswellia, that's listed as a supplement, where Kratom is listed as a herbal drug. So it has a deeper impact. All right, let's look at the FDA website, what they say about Kratom. So I've just highlighted there in yellow, dietary supplements that contain Kratom are adulterated. Additionally, down at the bottom, it indicates, therefore, Kratom is not lawfully marketed in the United States as a drug product, a dietary supplement, or a food additive in conventional food. And I'll point out one of the uses for Kratom is to add it to food products. I'll point out here, our opponents will often say, how about we just ban the synthetic and semi-synthetic alkaloids or the chemically modified ones? It's the ones getting chemically modified, it's the synthetic stuff, it's them highlighting things. Well, if you look at South Dakota codified law, actually it would seem to indicate this already should be illegal, because you can see there in our codified law it says adulterated or misbranded food cannot be marketed. So it essentially already is, even if some is selling illegally. But splitting hairs on that one, we still need this bill to make it extremely clear. All right, here's some states that have banned Kratom. We had 6 states recently came online just a few months ago, was Louisiana. And so these states have completely banned Kratom. They're recognizing its problem, its rising need as a new drug issue in the United States. And actually, just as of last night, I found out that just 60 days ago, California, which tends to be a very liberal state, just added it in the past 60 days. And they actually felt it was so urgent that instead of the legislature passing it, the Department of Health there actually just banned it in the state, because they've seen a number of problems as well. So we'll continue to see more states come online. I think we should also be a state that protects our citizens with this. A sad reminder from our South Dakota Department of Health. I didn't want to brush over that too quick. At least 6 South Dakotan lives were cut short due to Kratom. This is a growing drug. Let's stop it before more lives are lost. So I'll conclude with SB77 in light of time, being quick here. Core responsibility of our government is to provide safety to our citizens. I ask that you please vote yes in support and ban it rather than adding more regulations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that was a 10-minute presentation. So is there any other proponent testimony? Essence of time, please be brief, and opponents will have to be brief also.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jenna Severin, South Dakota Police Chiefs Association. In the essence of time, I think the prime sponsor hit all the targeted issues from a law enforcement perspective, and we thank him for that, and even then some. So in light of that, we would ask for your favorable consideration in supporting and passing this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other proponent testimony?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Leslie Heineman, representative from District 25. I'm a dentist, retired dentist, and I agree this is a Me Too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other proponent testimony? Good morning.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Grant Flynn from the South Dakota Attorney General's Office. I did sign in as a proponent of this bill online, so I will just offer our Me Too support as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other proponent testimony in the room? Do we have any proponent online? Okay. All of these are proponents? All those that have their hand raised. Okay. Well, I'm going to apologize because we can't get to everyone that that has their hand up right now. So we'll. Chamberlain, are you online right now? And please be brief. I'm sorry we can't really take a long written statements right now. Thank you. But Wendy, if you're online, go ahead. Okay, for right now, we'll skip to Misty Brown. Misty, are you online and ready?
I am, but I am an opponent.
Okay. If you're an opponent, can you please put your hand down on the online designation? Only proponents leave your hand up. Susan Eppard, Are you online ready?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Yes, I support banning all forms of kratom. My 22-year-old son, Matthew, died from whole leaf kratom powder, the least potent form of kratom available in the United States. Kratom caused him to have a seizure, go into cardiac arrest, and die a violent death on his kitchen floor in front of his girlfriend. His toxicology showed he died from the toxic effects of metragenine, an alkaloid found only in kratom. He had no prescription drugs, no street drugs, nor alcohol in his system when he died, and his autopsy showed he had no underlying health conditions. It's important to note that my son did not die from 7-OH or 7-hydroxymetragenine. And kratom is not routinely tested for postmortem, as many users hide their usage. And even when families know about it, they don't think to ask for it to be tested because it is advertised as a safe, natural plant. And you've likely received many emails and phone calls of people saying kratom is a wonder drug. But keep in mind, there are thousands of kratom dealers in the United States, and the American Kratom Association shoots out emails to every one of them anytime there is legislation about kratom. And those profiting from the sale of kratom are using the clever age-old tactic, pointing the finger at something such as 7-hydroxymetragenine, when 7-hydroxymetragenine didn't hit the market until late 2023, and many people that I know in our group, Kratom Danger Awareness, have died their life from kratom prior to 7-OH hitting the market. And I'm going to thank you for your time, and I'm going to save time for other people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please stand by in case there's questions.
Thank you.
Dan Gibbs, we can take one more. I guess, Dan, are you a proponent?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Dan Gibbs. I'm here because my son Austin, whose death demonstrates the real and fatal risks of kratom, are often minimized and misrepresented by kratom advocates, including the American Kratom Association. I want to be clear from the outset. Kratom leaf and powder must be banned because the danger is inherent to the raw material itself, not limited to extracts and adulteration. This conclusion is supported by pharmacology, regulatory precedent, and real-world fatalities, and is directly contrary to kratom industry misinformation. Kratom's primary alkaloid, mitragenine, is opioid active and creates danger through two independent pathways. First, mitragenine is easily extractable from raw kratom powder using low complexity methods requiring no specialized laboratory equipment. Once isolated, it can be chemically converted into 7-OH, a compound more potent at the mu opioid receptor than morphine. This makes kratom leaf a functional opioid precursor. Second, and more critically, the same conversion happens inside the human body. After ingestion, mitragenine is metabolized in the liver, primarily through CYP3A4 into 7-OH, even when only pure, unadulterated kratom leaf is consumed. In effect, kratom functions as an opioid prodrug. The liver performs the same function that can be achieved chemically. These facts directly contradict the claim that natural kratom leaf is safe. This is where kratom advocates become their own worst enemy. Advocates routinely state that pure leaf kratom powder was strong enough to get them off morphine, oxycodone, heroin, or fentanyl, and that saved their lives. From a medical standpoint, those statements are not evidence of safety. They are admissions of opioid potency. A substance does not replace heroin unless it meaningfully activates the same opioid receptors. A product cannot be harmless and powerful enough to suppress opioid withdrawal. These claims describe opioid substitution and dependence, not a dietary supplement. These risks are not theoretical. On 6/2023, my son Austin died alone in his bedroom after consuming what he believed was a natural leaf kratom product. His official autopsy and toxicology report concluded cause of death was intoxication by mitragenine. No fentanyl, no illegal drugs, no prescription opioids. Pulmonary edema and frothy airway fluid consistent with opioid-type respiratory depression. Austin's death was not alteration. It was not polysubstance use. It was the predictable pharmacological outcome of consuming kratom leaf. From a public health perspective, substances with no accepted medical use, opioid-like effects, and predictable conversion into more potent opioids are not candidates for regulation. They are candidates for prohibition. Regulation cannot control liver metabolism, tolerance escalation, or respiratory suppression during sleep. And claims that bans don't work ignore reality. Austin did not die because of the black market. He died because Kratom was legal, normalized, and falsely portrayed as safe. That is why I strongly support South Dakota Senate Bill 77, which bans Kratom outright rather than pretending it can be safely regulated. For my son and for the families who have not yet lost someone, I urge you to support SB 77. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think with that, we're going to need to move to opponent testimony. Any opponent testimony in the room, please?
Mr.
Hello,
Chair.
can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, we're taking opponent testimony in the room first.
Yes, I'm opponent testimony. Sorry.
You're fine.
Thank
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Sam Madsen here for South Dakota Small Business Owners for Hemp. A couple things I just want to talk about here. First, the reported deaths in South Dakota, there were 6 reported deaths, as the sponsor of this bill mentioned. And if you look at the date of when those were reported, it was in 2024. So what did we do as a state? Well, there was 2 sponsors of a bill that was brought last year. And if you look, it's now codified law. It's SDCL 3420B 115.1. And it lays out what you can, what are the requirements and the warning labels that need to be stated on a Kratom product. So right here is a Kratom product. If you look, well, I can pass it around if you'd like, but it lays out everything, the warning labels. You can't use this when you're pregnant, the serving size, the amount you should have within 24 hours. Everything that's in this codified law is on here. More importantly, after that bill was passed, and again, the folks that retained, my partner and I believe that's a good thing. They mentioned the 7OH and they thought it was questionable, and they got rid of it when that law became effect. So this is a statement from one of the sponsors of the bill last year that passed. Kratom is available in some South Dakota stores, but banning it would be difficult because people could still get it through the internet. And I couldn't agree with that statement more, because again, banning these products is just gonna kill the small business industry that sells the topic of the last bill, and then they also sell Kratom. Furthermore, a couple other things is the sponsor also brought up an Amazon screenshot during his PowerPoint. Again, it furthers the point. People will still be able to get this stuff through the internet and order it online rather than going to the store in South Dakota and benefiting small business. One other, just a couple quick facts. I wanted to address the last proponent. He mentioned that, you know, this is an opioid essentially, and that we're our own worst enemy by saying these replace opioids. Well, in reality, it's less than 0.02% of the addictive concept of opioids. It affects the same part of the brain, but at a 0.02 percentage. Olympic athletes have been using this since 1970 as a replacement for caffeine, and it's derived from a coffee plant. One other thing, and this is 2 anecdotal examples, but I think they're worth mentioning. When I went to law school in 2019, I met a friend of mine from Tennessee who went to college at Ole Miss, and he got addicted to Percocet when he was there, dropped out of school, and then withdrew and had a lot of problems trying to get clean. And he ended up finishing his undergrad degree and then went to USD for law school. And before class one day, he took a Kratom pill. And I asked him, like, what is that? And he said, well, you know, this really helps me because I was addicted to opioids. And this kind of helps me knack the urge to take these opioids again. I mean, why would we want to punish that? You know, like he's trying to get sober, or he is sober now, but he's in recovery, and he's finding a thing that is legal federally that can help him not go back to opioids. And I think that's really important, and especially because if we ban this stuff and a recovering addict has an urge to go get, you know, Percocet or Oxycontin, something like that, and they go on the street, we have a fentanyl epidemic in this state. Do we really want people to go to the street, go to the black market, and get an overdose on fentanyl? I mean, I think that's an important thing to think about when we talk about these outright bans on drugs. And by drugs, I mean, you know, things that can help people. Anyways, I would urge you to defer this bill to the 41st day, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other opponent testimony in the room? Any other opponent testimony in the room? Okay, seeing none, I think I'll go in order the way they are on my screen. Matthew Love, are you ready to testify? And we do
Yes,
have a
I
time
am.
constraint, so please be concise.
I will do. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Lowe, and I'm the Executive Director of the Global Kratom Coalition. We're an alliance of consumers, scientific experts, and industry leaders that are seeking to enact regulation to ensure consumers have access to safe, natural Kratom leaf products. Today, I'm testifying in opposition to SB77. I just want to start off by saying that the chess grandmaster that unfortunately passed away yesterday, he had methamphetamine in his system. He was consuming meth. He happened to have Kratom in his system as well. I think if you're consuming meth, that's the likely reason for that death. So we do support strong regulations for natural Kratom access, similar to what Representative Mulders passed last year in South Dakota. We also support the prohibition on synthetic 7-hydroxymitragynine, which is backed by the FDA when they put in on the 29th of July to schedule concentrated synthetic 7-OH, and made it very, very clear in multiple public statements that they are not focused on natural Kratom leaf, which has been consumed safely for centuries. By means of context, natural Kratom leaf is a botanical from Southeast Asia. It's been consumed in the United States for 50 years, since the 70s. And there's 23 million people that consume natural Kratom leaf across the United States. There's been 18 human clinical trials that have been done on natural Kratom leaf, all showing their safety under the conditions of use that people use it in the United States. That includes an FDA clinical trial that was completed in 2024, which showed that natural Kratom leaf was safe up to 6 times the average serving size that a United States consumer consumes. When addressing the issue of these novel synthetic derivatives that have been targeted by the FDA, we fully agree that these novel opioids that have no fiber content, do not contain the 50 different alkaloids in natural Kratom, and are 100 times more potent, should be prohibited. And that has been followed not just by the FDA, but in Florida and Kentucky, they've taken action to schedule concentrated 7-OH at any level above 400 parts per million on a dried weight basis. I would just like to finish by saying that it's not even been a year since the legislature passed a legislation to establish comprehensive regulations on the Kratom industry. These regulations have not been given adequate time to be impactful and have not been properly enforced. I think we need to focus on what has been passed and create a safe marketplace before we walk down the path of prohibiting natural Kratom leaf entirely and taking business away from these small businesses and depriving hundreds of thousands of consumers in South Dakota of their natural choice. If the decision is made to prohibit synthetic 7-OH and other synthetic derivatives, we will be fully supportive of that initiative. I thank you all for your time. We stand by to answer any questions, and if there's additional support that you need from the scientific leaders in the space, from the University of Florida or Johns Hopkins, we are also happy to bring them to your attention. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We're down to about 2 minutes. I can take one more online. Paloma, can you be very brief?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you.
Chairperson and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Dr. Paloma Leifeld. I'm a physician, scientist, researcher, and the medical director for Botanicals for Better Health and Wellness. I'm here today to respectfully urge a no vote on Senate Bill 77. Senate Bill SB77 is a blanket ban that would criminalize South Dakotans for purchasing, selling, possessing, or consuming kratom. This is not a targeted public health approach, and it will make consumer safety worse. Kratom is widely used in the United States. Hundreds of thousands of South Dakotans utilize it for its beneficial benefits, including relief from minor aches and pains, a mild energy and focus boost. Large national surveys of over 3,000 consumers by major academic institutions such as Johns Hopkins and the University of Florida have shown that most people, again, report using kratom for general wellness-related reasons. And the primary emerging safety concerns, as have been identified, are not with the botanical kratom itself, but with highly concentrated synthetic 7-hydroxymitragynine, 7-OH. SB77 does not distinguish between 7-OH and natural botanical kratom. Instead, it bans everything and repeals existing consumer protection provisions in the state that are meant to prevent adulteration, require clear labeling, age verification, and establish safety standards. Prohibition will not eliminate demand. It will push consumers into unregulated, illicit markets where there is no testing, no restriction, no accountability. This is how harms increase. If the committee's goal is pollution, is science-based regulation of kratom, not prohibition. Restrict synthetic and high-potency derivatives like 7-OH, set clear product limits, require manufacturing standards and testing, enforce labeling rules, and restrict sales to adults. For these reasons, I respectfully ask you to vote no on Senate Bill 77. Thank you so much for your time and service.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we will have to cut off opponent testimony. I think we gave about the same amount of time as we did pro-opponent. Those of you that are online, you are on record as being in opposition. Your names will be included in that, but I'll offer right now time for rebuttal.
I'll cut it short too. Thank you, Chair. Just a super quick recap. We heard you can buy it online. No, on Amazon I showed you. They don't sell it on Amazon for a number of the reasons you heard of its concerns. That was selling books and drug tests, not actually selling kratom on their website. This is not a concern with just 7-OH. You heard multiple testimony. It's kratom. 7-OH just happens to be a small component of it. Our Sheriff Pat West is in support of this ban. This is a rising issue. Let's catch it before we let it get out of control. I think one of these mentioned, we don't want a drug epidemic in South Dakota or United States. You know what? We will have an epidemic with this if we keep it legal. That's where it's headed. There's a momentum of states. We see states bringing this. We need to be on that same momentum, and most importantly, we need no more deaths in South Dakota. Ask that you support it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we have gone past our allotted committee time, but I will ask if there's any questions from the committee. Okay. Seeing none, I guess we'll close testimony and move on to committee action and or discussion. Senator Perry.
We've talked about kratom for a long time. Back a few years ago when we changed the age to 21, we got probably 300 emails in our boxes. Each and every legislator got those, and we decided instead of going for killing kratom at that time, we'd go for just moving it to 21. But we talk about the 6 deaths, and that's how many was in recent time. How many have we had altogether? That would be of interest. 7 states have banned this recently, and when they talked about people using this in South Dakota, I think Lady Paloma said something like 100,000 people are using it now. I find it hard to believe that 100,000 people are using it, but I'm just curious, Mr. Sponsor, to the sponsor, what do you think of all that?
Okay, we had closed questioning.
Okay.
You missed that part, but go ahead and answer the question. That's a fair question. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, Senator Perry, yeah, I think some of those questions are pretty skeptical as well. And I think you even bring up another good question is, what's the future look like? We mentioned the deaths, but I don't want one more death. I don't want that on us when we hear 6 months from now someone overdosed on that. So thank you.
Other committee question? Yeah, Senator Smith.
Thank you. Questioning is over, correct? Yeah. So I would move to the 41st day.
Smith moves Senate Bill 77 to the 41st day, seconded by Senator Davis. Discussion on that motion.
Well, first of all, we don't want deaths to happen to anybody from overdose, and those are tragic. Okay, so we're not going to minimize that. But we can also, people die from alcohol abuse every single day. That's a chosen drug that people get to use. I know people that have overdosed actually on caffeine. Okay, it can do that. You can have caffeine toxicity. Okay, and so, you know, anything that we can do to stop those things is important. But we just passed a law last year to address these issues, to make it adult use, to make it labeled, to do these different things. And we have to let that play out a little bit to see if it works. Those 6, not correct, did not just happen this last year after labeling. And so those were prior to that. And I think we have to let it play out. So I would hope that you would let that bill play out that passed last year, and we would move forward with the 41st day on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the motion? Senator Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I went back and looked at our bill last year as this bill came up. I thought that we had dealt with it last year, and I think it was a very good bill that was put together. And I'm agreeing with Senator Smith. But I also wanted to point out that last time I went back and looked at the minutes, and we had Avera, we had Sanford, and we had Monument in the room. We had health officials in the room helping us through this process. Created a bill that didn't have any as we went through. So I'm agreeing with Senator Smith. Also, Terry from the South Dakota Council of Community Behavioral Health, and so I think they all were saying we did what we needed to do. But let's give it time to see if this, if we see any more deaths. We're talking about ones in 2024. And so will this help us curtail the death? I hate to take a product away from people that are using it responsibly.
Okay, well, quick comments. My wife's an addiction counselor. She works only with juveniles. Almost every kid she's working right now with, guess what they're using? They're using Kratom because it's so easy to get. And most of them admit that the toxicity level when they take it, it makes them sick because they take so much. They're using it because opioids are getting harder to find, other drugs are harder to find. And honestly, you know, when I was coming out here, she told me that this is a huge, huge problem for juveniles, even though we made it illegal up to under 21. The second thing is, I'm just going to say this on boils, it's really disheartening to me when we talk about these substances that are mood-altering, mind-altering substances, and our concern is sales tax revenue and retail sales. I'm sorry, that just does not fly with me. When we're looking at public safety, I don't want to hear about sales tax revenue, okay? I hope we can dispel that from the future. I'm going to resist this motion. I think we need to move this forward. Any other comments? Or comment? No. Okay. Okay. I guess seeing none. The motion before us by Senator Davis is, or Senator Smith, is to move 77 to 41st day, seconded by Senator Davis. I'll ask the Secretary to call the roll.
Senator Grove.
No.
Perry.
No.
Reed.
Aye.
Smith. Aye. Voigt.
No.
Davis.
Aye.
Jensen.
No.
Mr. Chair, we have 3 yeas and 4 nays.
Okay, so the motion by Senator Smith fails to get the majority vote. I'd look for another motion. Senator Perry.
I would mirror the motion that Senator Reed did it earlier, where we moved this to the floor with no recommendation.
Get a second? Okay, Senator Perry moves 77 to the floor with no recommendation, seconded by Senator Grove. Any comments?
It's important that we get a total buy-in on this, and I do agree with the people that are bringing that are saying move to the 41st day, that this could go there, but I think that this is a bigger discussion than that, and I think we need to talk about it more. We've talked about it for several years, but maybe this is a time to have a different type of action.
Okay, so Senator Perry moves 77 to the floor with no recommendation, seconded by Senator Grove. All those in favor will say aye, opposed nay. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Grove. Aye. Perry.
Aye.
Reed. Aye. Smith. Aye. Voigt.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, we have 7 yeas, no nays.
Okay, Senate Bill 77 will move to the floor with no recommendation. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Reed moves to adjourn, seconded by Senator Davis.